here today from Los Angeles to talk about stick mobility and stick workouts. I am Shannon Finley. Thank you so much for being here. And I want to say this is my very first live, so I'm trying things. I'm using one camera. I'm not entirely sure what I'm doing. So if you have any tips or suggestions for me, I would love to hear them because, I'm just kind of playing around. That's what we do, right? So I don't see a chat, but that's okay. I just want to talk about stick mobility and stick workouts. I have this one crazy hair going on. I'm trying to be the life of the party, huh? Hi, Charlie. So talking about stick mobility and stick workouts. So I have a few different varieties of sticks. I have a regular dowel. I've got a Swiffer, and that works really, really well. But what I love so very much about my stick mobility sticks is that they bend, but they do not break. So I'm gonna grab one. I'm gonna move back a little bit so you can see me and push this chair out of the way for the moment. And so this is a stick mobility stick. They're bright and orange. And one of my favorite parts about it is it has this like grippy business down here at the bottom. So it really helps you stay sturdy. And what I love more than anything is how it bends. So, you can do stretches. Like one of my absolute favorites is this lateral blow, where you push your hips away, you reach up high, and then you push that stick away. And oh my goodness, what a wonderful side bend stretch this is. And you can kind of intensify by looking up and down. And then you come in. You can also change your footing. And I love that it can bend, but it doesn't break. And so it just is a great way to help build sturdier stability, but also get into deeper stretches, So I know that sometimes some of these exercises in my workouts can be a little challenging. They're challenging for me too. Hi there, Sleepy Daydreams. Hey, Charlie Phoenix. So happy to see you here. Thanks for being here. So I want to show you that there are modifications and you can do these kinds of things in all different ways, right? So I just did that lateral bow and arrow. And now I'm going to do the same exact movement, but I'm sitting in a chair. So this is like the first easiest version of a variation, right? Same kind of thing. I bring my elbow to about my hip. Oh, good morning, Mike Maxwell. Hello. And I'm going to reach up high as I am comfortable. And then I push that stick away. So it's going to be a little bit harder because I'm not standing. So my hip is not moving as far away from the stick. But you get that same kind of stretch. Even though my bottom arm is not extending as far, you can also put the stick a little further. It just sort of depends. Maybe I should sit back a little more so you can really see what this looks like. Right? If I'm here in my chair, I got the stick on my side. Bring that hand to about your hip. You're going to reach up high. You can also tell that because I'm much lower on this stick, it's not going to bend quite the same way. But, oh, there we go. I'm getting that bend. But I also have the stability and control of being able to sit in a chair as I do this. So there's always options, there's always modifications. And I just wanted to kind of share that with everybody. And if anybody has questions or specific exercises that I have done that you're like, how do I do that? That's what this is all about. That's what I'm here for. Good morning, Mike Maxwell. How is everybody? Is everybody from the West Coast, this kind of area? I'd love to hear from you guys and what you think. Have you tried stick mobility? Or any other kind of stick workout? Again, it doesn't have to be these sticks. I love these sticks. I think they're great, but I do a lot of things. Oh, good morning, Melvin. entering the gym as you speak. That's amazing. What a great way to start the day, right? Is there a specific size of stick that you should buy as a beginner? So the truth is, what a great question, Charlie. The truth is you can start with any kind of stick. So if you have a broomstick at home, that is awesome. You can totally work with that and do lots of different exercises and see how you feel and get comfortable. And then when you want to get these kinds of sticks, there's really just one size. Stick Mobility used to have two different sizes, kind of a longer version that was 7 feet for taller people, basically, and then a bundle that the height was 6 feet. And I have both of them, I have to say, and I really, really love my 7-foot sticks. They're very tall, but it makes me really have to reach. So these ones that I'm showcasing, they're the ones that are available right now on the website, and I very much enjoy them. Sometimes I wish they were a little bit longer, but haha, here's a hack. If you have a short stick and you're a little bit taller like I am, I'm 5'9". Again, I'm gonna step back. I know, I'm moving a little bit, but so, I'm just gonna set this stick on a chair or a box or another stable surface. That's the point. And then one of the exercises, you can see the difference, right? If I really want to hang on this stick, I totally can, because I've just made it a little bit taller. That's all. It's easy. Versus this guy that is a little bit taller than 6, but not quite as tall as 7. I gotta really bend my knees, which is totally acceptable. That's a great way to do it. I come down here. I can get that same kind of hang just by bending. Thinking about shoulders, still packed down. And then you can add that little twist. Oh, I got some adjustments. I don't know if you can hear those. But if you want to do the same basic thing, you would just bring it up onto a chair and be able to hang this way, right? And then switch sides. So there's always a little hack. And then, because I like tools, and I have a lot of them, this is called a movement stick, and it has 2 grippy spheres that move on the bottom. And I really love this one because it has a little more weight to it. In this full configuration, it's like 8 pounds. So you really feel it when you're holding it after a while. This can get heavy. You can have resistance bands. But what's so cool and very different from Stick Mobility is because of these grippy spheres, they do grip onto the floor, but they also move. So in the same way that I am requiring stability of myself holding onto the stick, this one requires just a little bit more because it'll move around. So it's super fun to play with. But yeah, this means if I'm just gonna hold on, it has the opportunity to move in this way. And then, ooh, let me put that back. And then it gets to roll around on the floor a little bit more. Hi, Amelia. Welcome from Ohio. I am talking all about stick mobility, stick workouts, and, just kind of saying hello and sharing myself because I haven't done this before. So if you have any questions, I'd love to hear them or read them, I guess, technically, and know what you want to talk about, because I could probably talk about stick mobility forever. I talk about it quite a lot. Obviously, I make all of these videos. And then I just want to ask if there's like specific kind of movements that you've struggled with that you want a modification for, or you want to know what's an alternative way to get to that same kind of spot, like I do have a lot of geriatric clients. They're a little bit older. And so we do all kinds of workouts where we're sitting in a chair. And I want you to know you can do a lot sitting in a chair. So, oh, thanks, Charlie. I don't know what that heart means, but that's very cool. Floating heart, it says. Mike asks, how did I get started with mobility sticks? You know, I'm not really sure that I remember how I got started. I love mobility. I have fibromyalgia, and I was diagnosed at I want to say 24, because I could barely walk down a street. I couldn't stand or sit or do anything for any extended period of time without being in incredible pain. And so I went to physical therapy. I went and saw doctors, and I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia. And they were like, so what do you want? What kind of pain meds are you interested? What do you need to live your life? And I said, I don't really want any of those things. I'd much rather figure out a way that I can take care of this naturally and by myself. Oh my goodness, it's a jewel. I've never seen a jewel before. That's so cool. As my first YouTube live, I don't know how all of this works. So always share, let me know. So yeah, I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia. They basically said, okay, if you want to try moving and doing physical therapy. So I did physical therapy 3 times a week for 3 years, and started to realize that the more I move my body, the better I feel. And specifically, if I move every single day, I'm generally speaking pretty okay. If I take time off and don't work out for pretty much 3 days, then everything starts to hurt. So I don't know if anybody else has ever experienced anything like this, or anything. I know there's all kinds of things that just cause so much pain in daily life, but I have found that it doesn't have to be like a crazy hard workout. Stretching, taking a walk, all of those things really count as movement. And if you do that more than enough, then you feel better, right? Like for me, that has been the answer. I don't really need any kind of medication or anything. I just need to make sure I carve out a little time for myself to move. Charlie, thanks for asking. Currently, your hip is a little funky. Any stick suggestions? Oh my goodness. Yes. I have a lot of hip issues as well. And so I do lots of videos that are focused on hip strengthening, because a lot of the time when you feel like you need to stretch your hip all the time, it really means you need to strengthen your hip. Both of them. So there's all kinds of wonderful ways of doing that. And there are so many great stretches that kind of are packed into the same movement. So even though you're working one part, it's really working several. Let's see. Hip specific. So I'm going to show you. I'm going to get down on the ground. I think the chat may get a little bit in the way, but one of my favorite movements is called a shin box. You don't actually need the stick to do this, although it helps you get up and down if you want it, right? We're not talking about a 90-90 where you're creating a 90-degree line for both of your knees. This is a shin box. It can be a little more kind of fluid and however feels right to you. And if this is difficult, you can always sit down on a block or a cushion or something, raise your butt up so that it's not as hard on your knees. So this is a favorite position of mine. And then we do this shin box switch, one side to the other, right? You can use that stick to kind of push yourself over, help you from side to side. And then I just did this move in the Evolve series, and oh my goodness, what a game changer. So I'm in that shin box. You can also do this as a 90-90. I just have the bottom end of the stick kind of at the edge of my mat. And this is a shorter stick, right? It could be the long one. All I'm doing, maybe I will get the longer one. same position. We're gonna do a little isometric hold here where I push up with this left hand and I'm gonna pull down with the right hand. Make sure you're breathing, try and get those shoulders to pack down. And as soon as you do that, you feel this whole crease in your hip, right? So, as we did in the Evolve series, you want to hold, but keep breathing, for say 3 seconds, then build up to 5 seconds, then build up to 8 seconds, and you can keep going, but know that, time under tension is helping to strengthen, but also release the opposite side. So same kind of exercise, right? But now we go to the other side. I haven't switched my legs. I've just switched the stick. And same exact kind of move, but it's a great strengthening isometric hold exercise for the hips. I also love these sticks because, you can literally set them on your leg to see, does this look like a straight line? Sometimes you need that little extra visual feedback or tactile feedback, which is a great reason to use a stick in your workout. Okay, let me catch up on what's... Oh, hey there, this is great. Thanks so much. That's my dad. Hi. I'm the favorite trainer. Thank you. I am his daughter, so it kind of maybe doesn't count, but I'll take it, So again, we're talking all about stick mobility and stick exercises. And I just also wanted to say that I have a 10% discount code. I'm going to try and put that up. I have a little graphic. Just, we'll see if it works, right? Haha! So you can go to the Stick Mobility website. It's Shan10. You get 10% off. Nice and easy. Just kind of, you can remember based on my name. And, it's not a lot, but it's always great to have a little something off when you get something, some new tool. And I think they're actually having some kind of 15% off discount right now, some sale for specific, I think I just got some other jewel, but I didn't get to see what it was. A thumbs up. Thanks so much, Charlie. 15% off sale for specific bundles with these really cool accessories that they have. They have their own special slider that has a hole for the stick so that it doesn't slide around. And they just, they keep upping their game, and I love it. I've talked to them a lot about what kind of tools can add to a stick workout. And it's really fun to get to collaborate with a company and be working on improving and growing. So I'm just going to take a sip of tea. Everybody like my peanuts cup? We're not in fall yet, but I love it. So the lesser known, but still really, really cool movement stick is an awesome tool. And I just want to show you a couple things because I don't think, today my shoulders are really tight. It's hard for me to lift my arms above my shoulder. Oof. I know this is such a problem for so many people. Shoulders, right? This kind of overhead range of motion can be really difficult. And if you don't use it, you lose it. So let me just say, if you haven't reached for something on a top shelf today, go out and do that. Just at least once or twice, make sure you still can. So obviously a side bend is a great exercise. Anything like this that's already helping to open up that lateral line of the body. But you may have some rotator cuff issues. You may have issues kind of reaching all the way back, kind of like a backstroke. So there are great moves with a stick that just helps give you more leverage. So I'm going to take this smaller stick, more because of the size of my space. So one of my favorites, I've done a couple of different workouts with this move. Super gentle, super nice. I'm just standing, that stick is maybe at 12 o'clock in front of me. If I'm in a clock and I have my right hand on, and all I'm doing is starting by opening up as I push down on that stick, right? So already really gentle. If you're a little bit taller, you may want a taller stick. I'm going to bring the bottom end of that stick in closer to me and twist open. And I want you to think about, can you feel that point where your shoulder starts to open up? If I use the long stick, you'll probably see it a little more clearly on me. I'm going to turn this way so you can see it, right? You can really kind of see, oh, shoulders opening up, hand, let me get the whole hand in there, there you go. I know vertical is sort of limiting in the size of how much you get to see. So that's just a great way to open up your shoulders, get them working, get them sort of warmed up. And I'm going to show you this move that I absolutely love. I do it all the time. And I definitely recommend that you do it today. So bringing a stick, and again, this could be a broomstick, could be a dowel, could be any other thing. Behind your back, you're trying to hold right at about the base of your neck and the small of your back. So if this is already difficult, you know this is something that you definitely want to work on. Bringing that stick over to these positions, and then you're just trying to pull the stick upward and pull that stick down. So again, you don't have to have the range of motion that I have, right? It might look much smaller if I do it from the side, or you might be really limited and not be able to pull your hand this high up your back. Totally fine. You just go to what feels okay to you today, and then as you progress and as this gets easier, you will notice, oh, I just unlocked a little bit further. I will also say that using a stick for this specific exercise can be challenging, right? You can feel like there's no movement at all, and it may take a little bit of time, but you can also do that same exercise with a long loop resistance band. That makes it really kind of a little bit easier and more accessible because the band is bendy and it just allows you to move around. Yeah, it's a great exercise. So the stick is going to be a little less forgiving, right? That's all. You did the Evolve program. Yay. Thanks, Charlie. Oh, my other stick mobility program, it's called the Summer Stick Mobility Program. I highly recommend it. And I will say the big difference between the Summer Stick Mobility Program and the Evolve series is the amount of time that you are committing to doing the workout, right? Summer Stick Mobility Program, they're all like 30 minutes, 45, sometimes an hour long. And the Evolve series, they're little chunks of time. It's like 10 to 15 minutes. I know that I don't always have that much time to work out. I don't have an hour every day, you know, but if I can get 10 to 15 minutes of specific mobility work, I know I'm going to feel better. I'm going to be working on opening up those shoulders, right? It doesn't have to be every day we're putting in an hour of work on the same exercises or on the same area of the body. We want to make sure we're kind of working every little part because as we get older, it's a little bit like whack-a-mole, you know, one day your shoulder hurts, the next day it's your hip, then it's your ankle, and it's just kind of like, which part do I need to focus on right now today? So doing a little bit of everything is a great way to just kind of keep everything in check and make sure you're aware of how your body's moving and how it feels. So I don't know if that really answered your question, Charlie. There are so many other just freestanding stick mobility workouts that, oh good, that are available too. They kind of run the gamut. There are ones that are like 10 minutes long, and then again, there are ones that are an hour. I have some really fun kind of ab, shoulder, hip workouts like boats, bugs, and rocks is probably still, it was one of my first stick mobility workouts, and it's still one of my favorites. It is challenging, but it's fun, and you know, you're mostly down on the ground for everything, but you really have to find balance and kind of challenge yourself. And I don't know, it's one of those workouts that I can't help but smile and laugh even if I'm rolling over on the floor. Amelia, thanks for making a comment. You got your mobility stick halfway through the Evolve series. Hiya! Good job. Isn't it amazing what a difference adding a stick to a stretch, just it's like mind-blowing how it changes it. Oh yay, doing 2 a day. Look at you. See, so you're building up to that like 30-minute kind of workout, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, okay, well, an hour, I can do that. And you know, I'm also always so impressed with how much I end up sweating doing stick mobility, because it's not just all stretchy and squishy. You're doing a lot of strength training doing that. Oh, you have a stick collection too. I love it. I do as well. I have a few different stick mobility variations, right? And then I also have the movement stick. Oh yeah, I was going to show you all a couple exercises with the movement stick. Yay, Charlie has a collection. I mean, I have lots of tools and I love them. I think it's really fun to play with and to explore how you can do different things with different tools. So this is a short stick mobility stick. And this one is not quite 5, I think it's not quite 5 feet, right? It's in between 4 and 5 feet. So really nice for when you have tight spaces and you're doing things like that shoulder exercise. And then here is this movement stick that has these grippy spheres. So this is made out of metal. And I don't know if you can really see it. It attaches with these little plastic clips, right? And that guy rolls around. But that is, so what I love is that you can also take it apart and travel with it. It gets pretty small, right? One half. And then you can just put it together whenever you want. So one of my favorite exercises with this guy is because this ball moves, I can kind of find that hang and just twist, but really working that wrist twist as well. So not only am I opening up the side body, but then I'm adding this little extra arm line twist. And it just kind of creates like an opportunity for really fluid movement, right? Like if I just want to swing and step, well, everything is clacking and cracking right now. And then you can switch sides. And because it rolls, you can always bring it down on the ground and roll it out. Woo. Right? The guy who made this, you see him doing crazy things like push-ups, holding onto the stick kind of at a side, right? And again, because it is on a ball, you have to have a lot more stability holding yourself up, because it has the chance of that little bit of wobble and movement. But it's a really fun tool. I should probably do more workouts with this guy too. I just love playing with all of them. Let's see what everybody's saying in the chat. Yes, I do teach classes virtually. I also teach them in person in Los Angeles. But I teach them all over the world in, Zoom, Google Meet, all that kind of virtual space. And I have this really fun way of building classes. It's an option where you get, say, 3 or 4 friends together and you guys all take a class, right? Virtually. This was huge during pandemic times when people couldn't actually meet up, and it was a great way for everybody to get to hang out and spend time together that also wasn't necessarily focused on like a happy hour or something. It was all about movement, and then there would be all these amazing text chat threads where everybody's like, oh my God, Shannon just killed me, I can't walk today, or some silly thing like that, where they would get to, and I'm just listening, watching the thread and kind of giggling to myself, like, making them work today. So that was always really fun as a way of gathering your friends together to do something that maybe you wouldn't normally do. And especially when you have friends all over the country, all over the world, and you don't get to see each other as much. Mike asks, does the bottom ball roll or stay stationary? It rolls. Both of them roll. So here we go. Whoop. And it is exactly the same on the other side. Right? Whoop. So they do have like a grippy rubber something to create these, but both of them roll, so you have to do all of the work. How much is this? I don't honestly know. When I bought it, I think it was like $199 maybe, but I do have a discount code for this movement stick as well. And this is, the cool thing is, it's also like, it's 8 pounds in this full configuration. So you can do simple exercises where you're holding this stick, shoulders are down, oh my goodness, or in that server position. And this is work, right? It's only 8 pounds, but that's actually a lot. So, since Charlie asked, let me just throw up that little movement stick discount code, because it's kind of hard to remember. So let me figure out how to put that graphic up again. Ha-ha! There it is. You can just go to movementstick.com. You get 20% off with this little code right here. This green screen thing is wild. Woo! And I think it's a really fun tool that is very different, super unique, and kind of different from the stick mobility version, because the other big thing is that movement stick, it is made out of metal, does not bend. My virtual classes vary based on whether or not you are doing a private, semi-private, or a group class. But if you want to get your own group class together, it's like $25 per person for 4 or more people. So you can always gather your friends together and get a class for a pretty great rate. And again, you don't have to have these specific tools. You can have kind of anything you want, and we can work with it, right? A lot of people have like a PVC pipe that they got from Home Depot, or a Swiffer, a dowel, all those kinds of things work. And it's a great place to start, right? Before you go out and buy a ton of tools, this is what I do. So I love having them, and I'm always playing and discovering new things. But when you're first starting out, I highly recommend you grab the broomstick and see how you feel doing it. And once you're like, oh man, I don't know that I can live without this, then you're going to get more, right? Then you start adding on and you build your little toolbox, so to speak. In the same way that you probably have dumbbells at home, a couple different pair maybe. And then as you get more into it, you might get a kettlebell or something. And then, You get really crazy and you get a club bell or a mace bell, which I wanted to ask you guys. I don't know if there's like a crossover between my stick mobility community and my club bell community. And I think they really complement one another. I love doing both of them. So I want to know if you guys would also be interested in me doing a live where I talk about club bells and club bell exercises, mace bell exercises, all that kind of stuff. And I don't know if there's a way to put up a poll. I see that there is. So I'm just typing this in. Club bell live? Question mark? I don't know where it went. Oh, okay. So now it's at the bottom, I think. Yay, thanks for voting, everybody. Charlie, you're planning on doing the YouTube today. Oh, amazing. The YouTube workout today is a super gentle, delicious mobility workout to help relieve lower back pain, which, you know, anybody who sits all day at a desk for a living, you probably deal with some of that. And all of these exercises are pretty gentle. They are down on the ground. So if you have difficulty getting down on the ground, I can always talk about options and different ways of being able to do things that you can still do seated in a chair. But I have to say, if you struggle to get down on the ground, that's okay. You can still do it. And then you can struggle to get back up. And it's a really good practice because we want to be able to move in all kinds of different ways. And again, I say this all the time because it's so true. If you don't use it, you lose it. So, you know, yes, Mike knows what I'm talking about. You know, it's one of those things that you're kind of like, oh, I've forgotten what it's like to get down on the ground until, you know, my kid wants to play with me down there and I'm moaning and groaning and, you know, such is life. That's what we're going to do. And you do it. And then it gets easier. So I don't know how to check this poll. Nope, I only have an option to end it, I think. Because I don't really, this is my very first live and I don't exactly know what I'm doing. And thanks for everybody bearing with me and playing along. I think I ended it. Yay, everybody votes yes for a club bell live. So maybe I'll do one next month and same kind of vibe. I'll do some exercises that you can see. I have a variety of different club bells as well that I can talk about it. Click on it. Click on what? Nope, that just had me pin a message or something. Oh my goodness, Charlie, thanks so much. You sent a flower. These are really cool, these little jewel things. I don't know where you get them. I haven't seen how to do that yet, but I do want to investigate. Has anybody done that on YouTube? These like special jewels and little stickers and stuff? Because I have not. I hope the people here recognize Charlie Brown. I know I'm aging myself a little bit. Charlie says there's a present button next to the chat. I don't actually have that button. So I think that's because I'm doing the live. I do post on TikTok. I have all the social medias, right? The TikTok, the Instagram, the Facebook, although I'm not really very active on Facebook, I have to be honest. Yes, as a viewer, you get to see these things, but as I am hosting, I cannot see the jewel bits. I do post, hi, Miss Gorf. I do post on TikTok. I love TikTok. I think it's a great platform and it's really fun. And, you know, it's part of what got us all thinking vertical is the way to do things, right? So let me see if I can post my socials. I got to find that little graphic. There it is. There's my TikTok right there. It's Chanon with a C on Instagram. I know they're all different. That's because I had a previous Instagram that was just Chanon, and then it got deleted. But you know, that's just how that goes sometimes. So you can please follow me on all of the different social medias. I do all kinds of short form videos there where, you know, you just get a little clip or a tidbit or like a, you know, abbreviated workout. And then here on YouTube, you get the full follow along workout where you don't really have to think about it. You pick what kind of, you know, equipment you might want to use or something like that. And you know, you just pick a video and I've got the timer, I've got music in there for you, or I always love, you know, muting the music if I'm not into it and just going with it. So Miss Gorf, what kind of stuff are you looking for on TikTok? Do you want to see club bell workouts, mobility, just anything, stick mobility stuff? Because I'm always trying to vary it, but I know that that doesn't always work well in doing these social media things. Everybody wants you to have a niche for some reason. So there is someone at my door. Would love more general tips. Hi. I am just, hold one moment while we assist a neighbor. Love general tips, general fitness tips, or specific to like stick mobility, because I can always do more. I even have done some that are focused on like how to feel better, how to kind of calm down in the moment, things like that. I mean, the joys of being alive. Neighbors coming in during your live. You know, life goes on even though we're on the internet. It's always a good thing to get outside and explore a little bit. So one of my favorite kind of general tips, whenever you're feeling a little stressed or overwhelmed out there in the world, something that, you know, doesn't look like anything, I just do this. Pushing into my chest, kind of right here. So I think I have done this on TikTok. And it just helps to calm your nervous system. And another one that I really, really love is, because again, it's one of those things that you can do that nobody knows what you're doing. You can just rub on your ears. And that helps to activate the vagus nerve and calm your parasympathetic system, you know, and you can do it as much as you want or as little as you want, but you'll usually kind of feel your ear get really warm and you'll notice that it's warming up and you're just like, oh, let me take a nice big exhale, that kind of thing. I think the neighbor is back. Are there any particular exercises that you guys do that you would like to get tips on? Because I know sometimes people are just asking like, am I doing this right? What is that right position, right? So for say a deadlift or even a squat, right? I have a mobility for squatting workout that I put out pretty recently. It was during that Evolve series, and it doesn't specifically have equipment, but it's great because it's working on how do you get into better positioning for something like a squat, which we do all day, every day, even if we're not thinking about it. And there are so many different sort of versions of how people squat, right? It's not just as simple as this. Some people have issues with their knees, getting up and down on the floor. That is also, I should do one just about that. Thank you for recommending that, Mike. But you know, people have all kinds of different ways of moving, and that's normal. And don't be upset with you being where you are today and not where I am today or where someone else is, because we're living an individual life. We don't need to worry about anybody else, but we can, you know, have goals and take inspiration from other people. So for something like a squat, I'm just pulling that chair back, right? You can work on the idea of sitting down, but you'll notice for a lot of people, a common way of squatting is really leaning forward, right? So I'm squatting because I'm leaning, as opposed to push that butt back and finding those deep hip creases. So again, I come back to a stick because it just gives me a little bit of support so I can keep my chest up. Obviously, it is going to fold forward a little tiny bit, but it's not the same thing as this, right? As soon as you get that round back, you'll start to notice your back hurts as you do something simple like a squat. So using the stick, push down to create that leverage. It also really helps you get up. And Mike, are you asking to see ways of getting up and down off the floor? Because I have a workout that does use equipment called the Get Down, and I'm using a kettlebell in that workout. I think it's really fun, but it's hard because there are all different ways of getting up and down off the ground, holding a weight. So with a stick, you can always work on your form, right? I can bring this stick behind my back. Do you need a kettlebell to do that workout? You could definitely do that workout without any weight, or you could use a dumbbell. I just use kettlebells because I like the shape, and that is one of the tools in my toolbox. But you don't have to have that specific tool to do the workout. I will say for the Get Down, it actually helps you to have a weight in your hand because it's sort of counterbalancing every time you're trying to get up and down. In that particular workout, you're doing something called a deck squat, at least for one of the exercises, and I'm just going to show you what a deck squat looks like. It can be tough. I got to move everything out of the way. And so you start here, kind of at the edge of your mat, and then you're going to squat down until you touch all the way down, roll, lift your hips up, and then you find yourself back in that position to stand all the way up, right? So having that weight kind of helps you, especially in the stand back up, that return. Using this stick, again in that kind of position that we saw earlier today, I'm using a long stick. Let me switch my hands just so my face is not covered. And again, the nice thing is it gives immediate tactile feedback. I want to keep the stick up against, or my hand holding the stick, up against the base of my head, my neck, and the base of my spine, basically, and I want to feel it kind of somewhere in that mid-back. And now, I'm going to find a little tiny squat. This is a great place to start because I can tell I have good posture, right? As soon as you start rolling over, you notice that stick never touched the ground. So you're finding that posture for a squat, just using a stick. So there's a lot of really great ways that you can use this one or any other. It does help that this one is a little bit taller for something like that. And I also find it really is helpful to do that in a place that you can see. Like if you have a mirror or something, that makes a difference. It's really helpful sometimes to be able to see what you're doing and watch yourself. And actually, I will also say, sometimes it's a great opportunity to just videotape yourself doing an exercise so that you can watch it and be like, okay, so my right leg is moving the way I want it to, but I see that left leg is just, it's not working as hard. Okay, now I know that I got to work on that left side a little bit more. So it gives you that kind of awareness that sometimes if we don't have a coach right there watching us every moment, we don't get to see. So recording yourself is a great option. Watching yourself in a mirror, you know, not in like a, I'm just in a vain way. You're really kind of exploring, how am I moving today, and getting to see what it looks like. You know what I mean? So, yay. Yeah, Mike, it is really cool. I love how much you can do with a stick. So I wanted to talk about another kind of general tip. I had mentioned something about working on form, right? We all want to know that we're doing the move right, and you will definitely feel if you're doing it wrong. Something like a deadlift or an RDL looks really cool, great exercise, makes such a difference. But if you're not doing it right, you know, because that low back is hurting pretty much right away, and you will feel it afterwards. So again, I come back to the sticks because they're a great tool to give you feedback and understand, how am I moving today? So I'm going to start with both of these sticks. You don't need to have two. I'm going to use an ankle point with the corner of the wall, and then bringing that mat up a little bit further. So my hands are just kind of right at about the hips. My feet are hip width apart. I'm pushing those sticks into the wall, nice and gentle, and then I squat down. I can get pretty low, and it's really, really helpful to be using these sticks because number one, it keeps my posture upright, and it's giving me force pushing backwards. I'm going to try showing you from this angle, just so you can see, same move, different positioning, right? My hands, I'm pushing backward. So it helps me keep that upright posture as I come down. Regular deadlift. You have a really big bend in those knees when you do these. You know, important for something like Olympic lifting, but even conventional dumbbells or kettlebells, like free weights, those are a great way to work on this exercise without those bars. And just by practicing here, I can feel the position that I want to be in. Same kind of thing for an RDL. So feet are hip width apart, pushing those sticks into the wall. And now my butt goes back, but I have way less bend in the knees. You bring your hands kind of as low as, you know, your shins, and then you squeeze the glutes to come back up. So if you have a barbell, it would usually be in front of you, and that same concept. Your hands are coming to about the shins, and then you're going to lift back up. So if I do this one to face forward so you can see a different angle. This is a great way to prime those muscles if that is going to be a part of your workout. So same thing, feet are hip width apart. And I push back. Right? They can come to about the shins. It's going to be a little bit higher because of where my hands are and where these sticks are. Right? But same concept. And then you come back up. So these are great opportunities to just do something with a stick. You feel the exercise, you feel the movement, and then you get to practice with the weights. So you've really turned on your body and all of those muscles that you need. Same kind of idea stick is pushed into an anchor point, right? People use the landmine. So same kind of idea, right? I'm going to come down and press up. All of those landmine exercises, you can start out with a stick where you're understanding the movement first, really practicing without any kind of concern about the weight, because this doesn't weigh very much. I think one of these sticks is a little less than 2 pounds, right? All of those kinds of things that you do with a landmine. And you're pushing that stick into an anchor point, so it's adding resistance because that wall is not going to move. Not with the force that I have available to myself. So that's what's also really great about using these sticks to just kind of try exercises, find that positioning first and foremost, and make sure you're moving and feeling what it's supposed to feel like before you add any significant weight to it. This is a lot of just me talking, so getting a little parched. Does anybody else have any questions that are specific to stick mobility or that are, you know, I wanted to ask if anybody has done any of these workouts that are on my YouTube channel and is looking for a modification, doesn't understand how I moved in some way. And of course, I want to know if you guys are digging this whole live thing and getting to ask me questions right now in the moment, because if you are, I will come back. So we've already talked about doing a club bell live, and I'm going to try and set that up for next month. Yay! That's right, Charlie. I also want to do one that's kind of just mobility focused with no equipment, so that people get to see you can do so much when you don't have anything, which means when you're on vacation or you're out in the world, it does not mean you can't do anything. Will I ever teach a live class? Sure. Are you guys interested in that? I mean, as long as people want to come, I'm always happy to do that. I do teach private lessons here in Los Angeles, and I have group sessions that are online. I have virtual, and I have an option to create your own class, which I think is really fun when you get your own people together and everybody gets to come from all over the world and get together to do a specific workout. So you have something current that is bonding you all. How do you contact me about group classes? You can reach out to me via any of my social medias or here on YouTube. You can also email me at theshannonfinley@gmail.com. I don't have a graphic for that. That'll be something I remember to do next time. That's a good idea. But you can also reach out to any of my social medias, drop me a comment, or here, there you go, thanks Sleepy Daydreams, putting it out, and just say, hey, I'm interested. Can I do a class? Can I do a private session? Because also, you know, sometimes we don't need to have a million personal training sessions. Sometimes we just need somebody to check in on our form and give minor cues so that everything is tight and exactly the kind of technique that you're looking for, especially with something like club bells. So that's going to be something to talk about in the next live for sure. And I just wanted to say thank you all so much for being here. I really appreciate it. This is my very first live, so thanks for coming. And I will make sure to announce and share about the very next one. I hope you have a wonderful Saturday, and thanks for being here. Bye. How do I turn it off? Okay.